period of their life, or a lot of the people that come along are people of an age who weren't around the first time these songs were around, and they love hearing. It's so exciting to hear, Eddie Cochran or Little Richard or Lloyd Price, all these great songs being performed live in front of you. So you do definitely get a huge amount of satisfaction from it.
Because you mentioned your father, your late father, and the jazz thing. I mean, for many years you were the artistic director at Ronnie Scott's.
I was, yeah. That was a funny one. I was playing there once, and the owner, Ronnie's partner, Pete King, said to me, "Oh, look, I'm retiring. I've had enough, and I'm going to sell up." And he gave me the name and the number of the person who was buying the club. And he said, if you want to keep gigging here, you better call this person up. So I just thought, well, I'm sure I'd like a crack at booking this. And one thing led to another, and lots of conversations. And I ended up booking the bands at Ronnie Scott's for a couple of years, which was a great way of learning the other side of the business. It felt like one of those footballers who've retired and then become a coach.
Yeah, but I think
that's great fun.
I think people have got they mentioned jazz clubs, but some of the people you booked were certainly not what we'd call jazz acts. I mean, there was I know you booked Tony Bennett, and I know you booked Macy Gray, and I know you booked Joan Armatrading, the Stylistics. I mean, they are not what we call run-of-the-mill jazz band. And
no, of course not. I mean, one of the reasons that Ronnie's is still going 50-something years later is, and Ronnie was there, and he, I had this conversation with him, is, to sustain it as a business, you have to book acts that are, commercially going to put bums on seats. And, we had Macy Gray in there one night, and the Late Show, we had, a kind of free-form jazz bass player called Avishai Cohen, and it kind of, one helps pay for the other. So, I mean, when Ronnie was there, he booked the Black Crowes, he booked Joan Armatrading, and people like Lisa Stansford. It was always the way,
I mean, a good act's a good act wherever they are, aren't they?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I remember one night, Ronnie's, I went and saw Ike Turner.
Wow.
And it was just phenomenal to see him in that space, So it's a great club, still is,
Yeah, because it's not the biggest of places. I think people have got this thing, it's a huge arena. But it's not.
It's 220 seats, I think.
Yeah, it's not. I've been in, and it's a long while ago. It is quite a long while ago, and I couldn't believe how small it was. Actually, in many ways.
Yeah.
I didn't count the seats, but I believe it. But then you left Ronnie's, and you went to a place that holds a lot more people, the iconic O2, and you booked and promoted the acts in the Indigo 2.
That's right, yeah. By this stage of my life, I was married, I had kids, and I didn't want to be on the road so much. So I thought, well, if I get into booking and promoting, that'll pay for the nappies, I always played, but I kind of came off the road for a bit. And, I got into promoting and booking shows, which was, again, it was great to see that side of the business and see how, things are put together, and, you've got to book it and market it and let people know about it. So it's all part of it. It's all interesting stuff,
And I suppose in many ways it's shown you the other side of the business apart from the performing.
Yeah, exactly. And having travelled around with people like Van Morrison, you see how other countries do things. And I used to love it in the summer when he'd go around and play all the European festivals, because A, you got to see these countries, but B, you got to see how they put on shows, and how they do things different from us over here. So you can learn all kinds of stuff in those situations. It's great,
So if I was to say to you, where was the best gig you've ever played, or best place you've ever played, or best gig you've ever played, where would that be?
I think in terms of this country, I think the Albert Hall's very special.
Mm-hmm.
And in America, I love going to New York, and there's a place there called Radio City, which is one of their concert halls. And, to be honest with you, if the band's great, I love playing anywhere.
Yeah.
But I spent many of my sort of formative years playing in all the pubs and clubs around the southeast, the southwest, really,
Is there a song you listen to and you think, God, I wish I'd written that?
Thousands.
If I could pin you down to one song, what would it be?
Oh, God. That's a tricky one. Maybe In the Wee Small Hours of the Morning.
Yeah?
I mean, it's just so many.
So many. I mean, I know it's a difficult one. I mean, I say, just looking at the songbook for this, the sounds of the 50s, I mean, and Elvis, well, I mean, don't know, I can't remember how many hits. I'm a big Elvis fan. I can't remember how many hits he had. Buddy Holly, he had hundreds of hits as well. Well, not hundreds, but loads of hits. I mean, it's going to be a fabulous night. Away from the music business, what do you do to sort of relax? What do you do as a hobby?
Good question. I mean, it's a tricky thing because, you start out, like everyone as a kid, you get interested in music, and suddenly you think it goes from being a hobby to how you pay your rent and your bills. So I guess music still is a huge part of my life, but I've got a family, I was spending time with my kids and my wife and all that kind of stuff, and just, regular things, really.
So you're not a fisherman or anything like that?
I'm not. I used to fish as a kid.
Okay. I haven't...
I don't really have time.
Much like yourself, I've not fished since I was a kid either, and I must admit it never got me excited. But I found out some very strange hobbies that some of these musicians have, but we won't mention that anymore. Well, I mean, you must have seen your name in the newspapers with your father. What is the strangest thing you've ever read about yourself? I bet there's been some crackers.
Oh yeah, there has been some crackers, but. No, I think the thing is with things like that, I mean, you don't tend to take it too seriously. In the same way that, if someone writes something really great about you, you have to take that with a pinch of salt, not with a big head, because, it's there's certain people in your life whose opinions obviously do matter. But, I don't tend to sort of scour the pages.
No. No, it's not just that. I mean, I had a gentleman you may know, Snake Davis. Do you remember?
Yeah, I've got a Snake, of course.
Yeah, I had him on the show earlier on in the year, and he'd read in the newspaper, I think it was, or read somewhere, that he died.
I suppose the very fact that you're reading it is a good sign.
which was quite interesting. He read that he died himself, or he read somewhere, I think it was online, I think it was, that he died, and he thought it was quite funny. And well, I'm glad he did find it quite funny. But that was that, so.
I've never had that one.
No, I hopefully I never see that either. So, I mean, you moved from being a musician into radio a few years ago.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Well, I got asked to do some stuff for Jazz FM many years ago, which I loved doing, and it was a kind of Sunday show where they just said, play whatever you want and talk about the music you like, and I really enjoyed doing that. I did that for 2 or 3 years, and then a very strange thing happened. My mother moved house, and while she was moving, she found a bag that belonged to my father, and she said to me, listen, this was the bag he had when he went to hospital, just right before he died, and in this bag was his script to record his radio show. She said, obviously he never got to make it. She said, do you want it, just to have? Anyway, I took it home and I read this script, and it was fantastic. Usual stuff about, old songs from the 40s and 50s. And I thought, he's gone to all this trouble. He's written this script. He's picked the record. People should hear this. So I went to the BBC and said, look, I've got this, the last script he wrote. Would you like it? And they said, well, would you like to present it? It only seems right. So that was the first thing I did, and it kind of grew from there.
I mean, you've done quite a few on radio too. You've done quite a few shows. I mean, you've done In Conversation with Van Morrison, which I can guess, Celebrating the American Songbook. You've done Friday Night is Music Night, Ella and the Songbooks, Remembering the Candyman. You've done with Sammy Davis. You've done Gershwin. You've done more or less everything. Leo Green's Hollywood special, and of course Green on Green, which was a celebration of your father's life.
Yeah,
that must have been very difficult to do. That one, I think.
Well, it was great. I mean, I'm lucky really, because when a lot of people's parents pass on, you get left a few ill-fitting suits and some rusty golf clubs. I'm very, very fortunate. I've got this fantastic collection of his radio shows and all the books and stuff that he wrote. So it's nice to read it. I mean, on 2 levels really. One, because it's nice to hear him talk, obviously, but on the other level, I share that hobby and that passion for music. So it's almost like he's still kind of passing on the knowledge. And I find myself, we did a show recently on Bobby Darin, and I knew that he'd done something on Bobby Darin, so I kind of went to the garden shed and dug in and found this old cassette of him talking about a Bobby Darin album. And it's great because, it's like he's still teaching,
It's fabulous. I mean, you're never too old to discover new music or music even that's, I mean, not that's being recorded now, but some of the older stuff. I mean, I listen to a lot of Motown stuff myself, including Bobby Darin recorded for Motown even.
That's right, he did, yeah.
Right at the very end, about 1971, I think it was, or something like that.
Yeah.
And I've got a complete collection of Motown music. I think it's 11,500 singles or something like that. It's crazy. And I've been going through these over the last couple of years, 5 years or so, listening to a couple of CDs every so often, and the people I've discovered who recorded for Motown and the tracks I never knew were Motown tracks, etc., etc. It's so good. I share your passion with Motown music, anyhow.
It's amazing, and what I found out, by researching this show is that so many of the big 50s stars, I mean, Motown would never have been if it hadn't been for people like Jackie Wilson and Berry Gordy had a hand in writing a lot of those songs. And
with Jackie,
the money he made from that to set up to Motown.
Yeah, well, I mean, Jackie's. I'm a huge fan of Jackie Wilson. In fact, I had Jackie Wilson's son on my show last year.
Wow.
His son is an absolute legend in America. His name's Bobby Brooks Wilson.
Yeah.
He's had, I think, four top 10 hits in the last couple of years. He's a huge star in America, and the rumours are he's coming over to Britain again soon. So fingers crossed. And if you get a chance to see him and get a chance to play with him, please play with him. He's a great act. Plays across Vegas. So you've got a lot of great musicians coming to join you on the tour.
Yeah, I've been very lucky, and I put the call out with. I mean, obviously, the first thing we needed was some great singers because I can't really sing. I'll croak my way through Johnny Be Good, but we needed some proper singers. So we've got a couple of girls. One girl called Hayley Sanderson, whose name you might not know, but she is the singer on Strictly Come Dancing. So she's appeared in your living room on Saturday nights.
I do know her actually. She's got long hair, hasn't she?
That's right.
I know her. Yes.
Voice. And we've got another amazing singer called Julie Maguire. Now, Julie's just starred in the One Woman Show, Tell Me on a Sunday, and she sings with Brendan Cole on his tour, and she's got the most incredible voice. So I'm delighted we've got those two, and they sing everything, not just the kind of girl songs like your Connie Francis, the obvious stuff. They also do some of the boys' songs. So those two do the, things like Danny and the Juniors, Paul Anka, and some of the Sam Cooke stuff. And then we've got a guy called Ian McKenzie. I don't know if you know Ian. He's another fantastic singer that we've been very lucky to get. He sings, normally with big bands and orchestras, but he's going to come and do some of the Neil Sedaka and the more pop stuff. So we've got a great mix. And then the band is made up of people that I've played with over the years. So I've got my old friend Matt Holland on trumpet, who was also in Van Morrison's band. We've got Ian Jennings on bass, who's played with Clapton and Jeff Beck and Robert Plant, all kinds of people. So we had a moment the other day. We were doing a rehearsal for this, and we were practicing Personality, the old Lloyd Price song. And we were kind of arguing about how the middle bit went, and suddenly this voice popped up and went, "Look, when I played this with Lloyd Price, this is how we did it." So we've got people that have actually kind of played with these people, which is great. So there's a real authenticity. We're not kind of dressing up in draped coats and putting on wigs and stuff. It's not a show like that. It's just a great celebration of all these great songs in concert. It's like the opportunity to forget about life for a couple of hours and just enjoy the music.
It sounds absolutely fabulous. Anyway, we'll go through this 4 dates across the area, covering, quite a few months actually. So we'll go through them quickly, and then I'll say goodbye to you. The first night you can see the Leo Green and the Sounds of the 50s is on Friday the 15th of July at the Stables in Wavendon. And then not again until September. You're not back in the area until September. You do Sunday the 11th of September. You're down at the Gordon Craig in Stevenage, and then a few days later, Wednesday the 14th of September at the Arena in St Albans, or the Auburn Arena as I know it as. And then in October, Saturday the 8th of October, you're down at the Rhodes across at the Rhodes Arts Centre in Bishopsthorpe, which is a lovely venue. You've got 4 great venues there you're going to in the area.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, the Stables is a kind of special place.
It is a lovely place, lovely venue. I go there regularly actually, and it's a wonderful venue.
I mean, I used to get taken there as a kid with my parents, but it's literally just a shed in the garden,
I know, it's a little. Anybody who's not been to the Stables at Wabden, it's a beautiful, purpose-built music venue, and the acoustics are sensational in there.
Yeah, it's very good, and I always have a little pause because in the foyer there they've put up a big glass-stained window of my father.
Oh, have they?
Yeah.
Do you know
which is a weird thing. So I always go and check out the old boy when I'm there. But there's lovely venues. I'm looking forward to it.
Great venues, And also they've got a lovely bronze outside. I say this to a lot of the guests, the lovely bronze of Johnny Dankworth just outside the door now.
That's right, yeah.
And every time I go there, I must admit, I give Johnny a little tickle in the tummy if nobody's around, because it looks a bit weird if a lot of people are around. And it really looks like Johnny. And of course, the venue is owned by Cleo Lane or run by Cleo Lane or in Cleo Lane's back garden. It's a fabulous venue. So are the other places, Stephen.